Bucharest, the Paris of the East, founded by Prince Dracula and transformed from a dictatorship into a fine metropolis. In between embellished classical and Baroque facades, as well as playful Art Nouveau, are many splendid historic buildings. In Bucharest's old town are the ruins of old royal court in which Vlad Tepes resided, the city's medieval centre. In 1456, Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula, came to power as Prince of the Wallachai. Adjacent is the Announcement Bunăvestire Church, the city's oldest building. A magnificent structure whose masonry consists of various layers of brick and ashlars. A Byzantine-influenced gem often used in Wallachai times. Here, for many years, the princes of Wallachai were anointed, and was where they kept a miraculous icon of St. Anthony. Within the church, atmospheric services took place, and the faithful came here in awe. It is also customary to light candles in the niches of the church. Hanul Luimenuch. Opposite the church is an old caravanserai, once a trading house, inn and hostel. In old Bucharest there were many courtyards of this kind. Wealthy Armenian Manouch Bey had it built, and over the years it has gradually been extended. Political meetings and masked balls were held here, and also peace negotiations. The Stavropolius Church is situated in Old Bucharest, an impressive example of Brancovianu design. Next, a romantic inner courtyard. Prince Brancovianu patronized art and adored chiseled arabesques and colorful paintings that feature religious motifs and scenes from numerous fables. Greek monk Ioannakie, who later became metropolitan, added his influence to the design of the church by adding an icon wall. He also added a vestibule that contained stone carvings and painted ceiling motifs. On the other side of the Dâmbovița River is Romania's last dictator's impressive and once fearsome building, now the Palace of Parliament. Close by is the National Opera House, which was founded in 1998 and created as a multifunctional complex by architect Doron Stefan. Today, the Cotroceni Palace is a museum. It contains 300 years of history. Following the death of Queen Mary and the departure of Prince Nikolai from Romania, the palace fell into disrepair. This was made worse by the consequences of an earthquake and, in addition, an American bombing raid in 1944. After a further earthquake, the then political leadership decided upon a restoration plan for the building that commenced on the 27th of December, 1977. Consequently, the 17th century palace became recognizable once again. Rooms such as the German dining room represent new Renaissance style and indicate the taste of King Carol I. The original coffered ceiling harmoniously joins the wall paneling and a window frame of carved wood. Beds, tables and chairs from regal times add to its Renaissance ambience. The former private salons of the princess are also open to the public, and in which everything from the structure of the walls to the furnishings shine out brightly. While strolling through many of the apartments, it's like experiencing the decorative art and vibrant history of bygone times. And the French apartment that comprises a bedroom and living room is furnished with precious furniture of several styles. The Quattrocini Museum is truly a living history. On Quattrocini Hill is the Botanical Garden. It was created by Professor Brinzer, medical doctor, Karel de Villa, and its first director, botanist Ulrich Hoffmann. The then sovereign, Prince Babu Stierbel, granted it planning permission. It covers 17.5 hectares. In April 1944, the garden and greenhouses suffered heavy damage due to several bombing raids. Nature has outgrown the destruction of the past, although a number of the greenhouses no longer exist. However, the Botanical Garden has survived, and its administrative building looks like a villa in the midst of green. The Triumphal Arch north of the city is reminiscent of that in Paris. It was built to commemorate the First World War. Symbolic reliefs and the coats of arms of the Romanian provinces make it a main landmark of the city. Next to it, on each side, is a gallery of Greek figures that marks the entrance to Hera Park. first sight of it belies the fact that it's actually the city's largest park, with a lake and an island. Between the park and the Triumphal Arch is a small square with a sculpture named after Charles de Gaulle. From here, people stroll along alleys and wide boulevards. The village museum, situated in Hera Park, was inaugurated in 1936 and since then has been frequently extended. Transylvania is represented by priceless monuments, such as the Bucuresti Church from the Maramureş region. From Oltenia, earth huts with their straw roofs are also featured. This world of ancient villages contains a large spectrum of Romania's folklore, its churches, buildings and mills. A labour of love, many of the country's historic buildings have been dismantled and reconstructed here to form the village museum. Between the exhibits, various artisans present their work and offer it for sale. Complete farms, along with their associated enclosures, have been relocated here and saved for posterity. Next, another earth hut, which has been perfectly adapted to the local weather conditions. A whitewashed farm from Tolcia in the Danube Delta with blue breakers on both doors and windows indicates the proximity of water. The village museum has become a kind of school in which history and the traditional way of life are on full view to the public at large. Plus music, dancing and singing, and splendidly colourful traditional costumes. From outside, the Farmer Museum looks like a palace. It's a brick building that in 1913 was planned as a national art museum. Here, the presentation of national culture is somewhat different and not quite as authentic as the village museum. Here too, old cottages have been relocated, but indoors, not al fresco. An exhibition features varied sacred works of art of numerous epochs that have been meticulously placed on show here. The everyday objects and pottery of several centuries also form part of the comprehensive exhibition. There is also clothing, jewellery and arts and crafts, all from different regions and various times in the country's history. A museum that depicts Romania's soul. The Carrea Victoriei is the oldest boulevard in Bucharest. At the beginning of the boulevard is the impressive porch and rotunda of the Athenaeum concert hall, with its Ionian columns that are reminiscent of a Greek temple. There are laurel-ornamented metal columns and artistic mosaic images of Romanian princes. The building was originally designed to be a circus and indeed was used as such in its early days. However, funded by donations by the city's inhabitants, it was subsequently transformed into a concert hall. This Temple of the Muses was named after world-famous composer George Enescu. Almost next door, the university library shines out, externally at least, in new splendor. It was here that the first protests against the last dictatorship took place. Directly on the other side of the street, the King's Palace dominates the Court of Honour, with a central tract and two side wings. The first building on this site was the large Bojaran residence of the Golescu family, who bequeathed it to the state. In 1866, Prince Carol resided here. The later Romanian king extended the castle while under Ferdinand parts of it were destroyed by fire. Romania's last king, Mihail, lived here up until his resignation. Since 1950, the National Art Museum has also been housed here. Particularly impressive is a large marble staircase, much of which is thought to have originally formed part of a complete slab of marble. The arrangement and design of the staircase complements the museum's works of art to perfection. And in contrasting style, from contemporary to conservative. Now, another cultural treasure. Cretin Su Church, a building that dates back to Brancovianu times. Both the entrance hall and interior are furnished with well-preserved original paintings by George Tatarescu. Typical architecture flanks the 3-kilometer boulevard. A narrow, inconspicuous area leads to the Maca Villagrosa Passage, a successful work by the architect of the same name. Villagrosa combined these buildings based upon classical design at a junction of narrow streets. He covered this section with glass and created what was then a popular shopping street. And finally, the magnificent building of a savings bank. The Church Palace is located on the site of a medieval monastery with a monumental facade and Renaissance-style domes. Opposite the Goldsmiths Church, an historical monument. Next to it, the former post office. In the center of the city is the beautiful Chismigiu Park, an oasis of tranquility with a variety of trees and a small lake. The park was created when the former swampy terrain was drained. Here the local people celebrate festivals of all kinds and enjoy the park's rowing boats. The Templul Chral is the largest and most beautiful synagogue in Bucharest, where more than 100,000 Jews once lived. The Jewish cemetery is now a sad sight, as it has become overgrown and neglected. The large cemetery in the south of the city is an impressive symbol of death, a work of emotion and nostalgia. Monumental mausoleums, artistic wooden crosses, and touching sculptures decorate the final resting place of prominent personages. The historic Orthodox cemetery is the national pantheon that Baron Belliu had designed in the mid-19th century. Babu Belliu, who also became Romania's Minister of Culture and Justice, donated his garden in which the foundation of the cemetery was laid in November 1852. The cemetery charts the country's history. Great families are buried here, and famous artists created numerous tombs. The adjoining military cemetery commemorates the heroes of 2 world wars, and there's also a fine Orthodox church. Metropoli Hill is one of the highlights of Bucharest, and is one of the oldest and most important areas of the city. Above the porch of the cathedral are flat domes. Its interior walls and columns are completely covered with religious paintings. The paintings in the interior of the cathedral look dark and are in contrast to a shining golden wall of icons, white columns, and tomb slabs. Next to the small square is the neoclassical Patriarch Palace, in which the National Assembly was housed until 1996. A library completes this stylistic ensemble, behind which the large residence of the Patriarch extends down the hill. With the union of Moldova and Wallachia, Romania's Orthodox Sacred Synod was created. Situated at the intersection of East and West, Bucharest is a pulsating city, a cosmopolitan metropolis with abundant art and culture. Churches, museums, and palaces the pride of the nation's honor regained.